Welcome, stakeholders. I'm going to ask Bill Butcher. I'm going to put you on talk. And Bill, I'm going to ask you if you can hear me, first of all, and if you can see our PowerPoint. Bill, B-U-C-H-E-R. Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yes. And can you see the welcome screen?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. I just like to check in with our stakeholders and attendees to make sure everybody can see what's going on. I'm going to put you back on mute, and when it's time to start, we'll get started. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And for our guests, we're probably going to wait until 5:31, 5:32, because we have 33 people registered. But I do appreciate you guys being on time. That's my favorite. Okay, we've got about 1/3 of our registered attendees here, but I don't like to keep people who are on time waiting. So I think we'll go ahead and get started. If we have a bunch join us at some point, I will catch them up. You guys ready? Ready, team? Hello, and welcome to this online meeting of the Mullan Road Pulp Mill to Deschamps project. Thank you for joining us. My name is Lisa Gray, and I'm the Public Involvement Lead for HDR on the project. During this meeting, members of the Montana Department of Transportation and HDR project team will share project details and respond to your questions. The presentation and question answer session will allow us to engage with you and provide the latest project information. As a reminder, today's session is being recorded, and a copy of this meeting and the presentation will be posted on the project's webpage next week. Now it's time to get going. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mr. Bob Vosen, who will start our team introductions and discuss MDT's Vision Zero.
Thanks, Lisa, and welcome to everyone. I want to thank you for taking time out of your evening to attend this meeting with us. We're excited to share some more information about this upcoming project that is, we know, very important to people in the corridor and in the area. To start with, I'm Bob Vosen. I'm the district administrator for the Missoula District with Montana Department of Transportation. As you can see on the slide in front of you, there's several team members with us. The second name on the list, Mr. John Schmidt, our district construction engineer, is not with us tonight. So with that, I'm going to pass it on over to Joel and allow him to introduce himself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joel Boucher. I am the pre-construction engineer for the Missoula District.
And
Go ahead. No,
Brett,
sorry.
would you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, I'm Fred Benty. I'm the design project manager for this project from Helena.
Thanks, Fred. And Amber?
Hi, my name is Amber Jensen. I am the Missoula District Right-of-Way Supervisor located in the Kalispell and Missoula offices.
And is Andy here tonight? I do not see Andy. Andy White is a member of the team, and he is one of our transportation planners. Lisa, would you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. This is Lisa Fisher. Good evening, everyone. I am the HDR project manager and leading the design effort for this project.
All right. And Eric?
Hi, Eric Dixon. I am the county engineer with the Missoula County Public Works Department.
All right. And if there are any other team members that I missed, I apologize, but please introduce yourself.
Nope, I think we're good to go. Thank you, sir.
All right, great. Again, I want to thank everybody for taking time this evening to join us. And real briefly, I want to talk about Vision Zero. It's a strategy that MDT has adopted for all of our roadways in Montana. And it is a strategy to eliminate all traffic fatalities and serious injuries, while also striving to increase safety and mobility for all roadway users. Tragically, in 2023, we had 203 fatalities on Montana highways. And as of May 8th, 2024, 43 lives have been lost. To eliminate fatalities and serious injuries on the roads of Montana, we need everyone to do their part. We need everyone to be attentive and eliminate distracted driving, especially the use of cell phones. Please drive sober, drive to the conditions of the roadway and not based on the signs on the speed limits. Watch out for pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorcycles. And finally, we need everyone to use their seatbelts. Together, we can all make a difference and save lives. So with that, again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And before we get into some of the project specifics, we're going to again hear from Lisa, who will discuss a little bit about the Q&A format for this virtual meeting. So again, I thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Bob. A question answer session will be held immediately following the presentation. Feel free to write your questions now or at any time during the presentation, and we will answer your questions live after the PowerPoint presentation concludes. To participate in the question answer session, locate the QA button on the bottom of your screen. Click the button, which is highlighted in blue on the PowerPoint slide. Type your question and remember to hit the send button. Next, Lisa Gray is going to take us through the project. Oh, sorry, Lisa Fisher. There's too many Lisas, Lisa.
So many Lisas here today. Well, welcome everyone to the Mullan Road virtual public meeting. This project will reconstruct Mullan Road, which is also known as Secondary Highway 263, from the intersection with Pulp Mill Road to just past the intersection with Deschamps Lane. The project will provide an improved travel route for vehicles, bicyclists, and pedestrians. So a brief project overview. The goal of this project is to enhance the safety of the road. So some of these improvements include widening the roadway to accommodate two 12-foot travel lanes. 6-foot shoulders will be added on both sides. They will replace the culverts and bridges that are crossing O'Keefe Creek, Laval Creek, and Primrose Irrigation Canal. The installation of new intersection lighting will also be at the Pulp Mill Road intersection. And then the design also includes a new shared use path for bicyclists and pedestrians. A few other project information here is they will be straightening the curves and flattening the hills where possible, and that's going to improve the visibility and the sight distance along this section of Mullan Road. The roadside ditches will also be increased where possible to better handle snow collection and improve the drainage. Guardrail replacement will be part of the project, as well as upgrading pavement marking, signing, fencing, and the overall pavement of the road. We are evaluating the addition of centerline and shoulder rumble strips, and those are used to enhance the safety of the roadway, and that's going to be discussed a little bit more later on in the presentation. And then finally, the construction cost for this project is estimated to be at $16.2 million. So here's a mock-up of what the future Mullan Road would look like. We've got two 12-foot travel lanes, 6-foot shoulders on both sides, and then a 10-foot shared use path that's going to be on the east side of Mullan Road, and that's on the entire project limit. There's a buffer that's located between the shared use path and the shoulder, and that buffer is anywhere between 5 feet and 28 feet, depending on where you are in the project. The narrower or smaller buffer would allow for less right-of-way impacts, but the wider buffer provides additional safety benefits for the path users. So during design development, MDT coordinated with Missoula County and other stakeholders, and the project team received the feedback that you see here. The first was adding that shared use path, which we were able to accommodate in the design. The second item was to evaluate the need for turn lanes at both the Pulp Mill Road intersection and the Deschamps Lane intersection. That analysis has been completed, and it resulted in not having turn lanes warranted at either one of those intersections. And so turn lanes are not included with this project. Another thing worth noting is that there are no impacts to historic properties within these project limits. So a little bit more on rumble strips. These are being considered for this project, and they're used to help reduce roadway departure or run off the road crashes. So sinusoidal rumble strips can be used to reduce the street noise, but they maintain that safety benefit to alert drivers if they travel outside of their travel lane. These can be used both on the center line of the road as well as the shoulder near residences. They are quieter, but they are a little bit more expensive than the standard rumble strips. And this is something that we're looking for input from you all on. And so we'll have some contact information later on in the presentation, but we'd love to hear from you if you have any thoughts on including rumble strips on this project. So a little bit more information on the shared use path. Missoula County and MDT have worked together to include a shared use path for the project, and they formed the agreement listed here. So MDT will secure the necessary rights of way and provide the fill and grading work for the path. Missoula County will pave the shared use path and provide railings, signs, and striping. If the county elects to not include the path improvements at the time of construction, MDT will place soil and seed the path with grass. The shared use path will be entirely on the northeast side, like I mentioned earlier, and then that buffer again is anywhere between 5 and 28 feet between the shared use path and the road. And now I'm going to hand it over to Amber, and she's going to talk about the right-of-way process.
Thanks, Lisa. Good evening, everyone. As you heard in the introductions, I'm the right-of-way supervisor for the Missoula District MDT office, and I will be overseeing the right-of-way process for this project. Right-of-way acquisition is anticipated throughout the project limits to accommodate the wider roadway shoulders and the shared use path. Existing roadway easement varies from 60 to 90 feet. The road will continue to be located within this existing easement, but site alignment shifts, additional shoulder width, and then the shared use path will require additional right-of-way on both sides of the roadway. Impacts to improvements such as fences, mailboxes, and landscaping will be addressed during the appraisal and negotiation process. If you look at the diagram on the slide, currently we're at the third step as HDR is wrapping up the right-of-way design process. This is the precursor to starting the appraisal process. I'm sure many of you have specific questions related to your individual parcels. We don't have time to address those very specific questions in this meeting. However, if you would like to send those questions and contact information by using the questions and answer button, we will be sure to contact you individually at a later time. If you don't have time to enter them this evening, you can also send them directly to Lisa Gray with HDR. Her contact information will be provided at the end of the presentation. With that, I'll hand it back to Lisa to discuss the project schedule.
Thanks, Amber. So as you can see on the screen, we're approaching that 90% design submittal to MDT, and that's going to happen in the next month or two. And then we'll work towards the 100% design this fall. And that will set us up for the right-of-way acquisition process. We're anticipating that to take anywhere from 18 months to 24 months, knowing that there's a lot of parcels along this section of Mullan Road. So that would happen in 2024 to 2026. And then the construction for the project is slated for 2027. And that's depending on the available funding and obviously the completion of all the design development to that point. And so with that, I will hand it back over to Lisa Gray to wrap things up.
Thank you, Lisa Fisher. Now we'll open the meeting to questions, and we already have 2 questions, so yay, you guys, thank you. Remember to participate in the question and answer session. Please locate the QA button on the bottom of your screen, click the button, and submit your questions. So go ahead and let's send those questions in. We've got 2, and I think we'll start with those. The first one is, how many fatalities and serious injuries occurred in the stretch of Mullan Road last year? Lisa, I know that you and I were in some meetings with landowners this past week, and we have some qualitative answer to that. I don't know if anybody on the team has the exact traffic information, so I'm going to go ahead and toss this to Lisa Fisher.
I don't have the exact number of that. When we first intercepted the project, we did a safety study, and that looked at crash trends over the last 10 years. But we don't have, I think they might be still compiling information for 2023. And so I don't have the exact number for that. And Bob might be able to touch on that as well.
Thanks, Lisa. And you're correct. I haven't seen the data from 2023 yet. And when we get to this point in the project, we don't typically generate a report for a project we already know is the funding is there. And we're a little on the short staff side, so we're trying to prioritize what the staff is doing, and we've already identified this. We've got a solution in front of us, so we can get that data if somebody this one came from anonymous attendees, so if you want that information, if you could provide that question to Lisa at the end via through her contact information, we can get back to you.
Elaine, why don't you go ahead and put there you go. You read my mind, don't you? Go ahead and send me that information via email, lisagray@hdrinc.com, and I'll get back to you on it. Great question, thank you. The next question is, will the shared use path connect with another shared use path at Deschamps Lane heading into town, or will it just end? And I would like to go to Eric for that. And I just want to, in advance of Eric talking about this, I'd like to let you know that Eric got thrown under the bus by his boss tonight because he got invited at the very last second. So Eric, do you have an answer to that, or is that something we should get back to?
I can partially answer. I know that we have been working on that. You know, obviously the existing trail ends on Mullan Road at Cody Lane. So there would be that gap out to Deschamps. So, you know, our biggest hurdle is going to be the funding source. And, you know, we've obviously asked for the inclusion of the shared use path on this reconstruction project. So we have every intention of making that connection all the way out to Frenchtown. It's just how we come up with that funding is an ongoing process.
Thank you, Eric. The next question is, what is the timeline for completion after construction begins? And I think we'll start with Bob or Joel on that. You guys can arm wrestle. What's the timeline for completion after construction begins?
Sorry about that, Joel. I'm not familiar enough with the construction schedule yet, and at this point, it might be a little early to actually be able to say what the schedule is, as we're not sure what the full design of the project is going to be yet. But Joel, I would anticipate it's probably a full season, and part of the next would be my best guess at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. I don't know if you guys have come up with the number of working days with contract, but I imagine a season or a season and a half.
And
That's about where the numbers are coming in at, so I would imagine that.
thank you, Lisa. And we
Mhm.
will, as time goes on, we will update the website for construction information. But we're just a teensy bit premature right now. But thank you for the question. Next question.
I will add one more caveat to that. Another part that will play a part in how long it takes is it's going to be dependent on what time of the year the project goes to contract as well. So that, again, we're pretty early to be developing an actual schedule for a contract.
Thank you, Bob. The next question is, are you going to keep the railroad crossing in the pulp mill area? And I honestly, Lisa Fisher, do you have any insight into that, or do we need to go to the county? Are you going to keep the railroad crossing?
Yes, so right now we are tying into the existing railroad crossing. It would stay at grade as is today. We are reaching out to BNSF to confirm a few other assumptions, but for now it is staying.
Thank you very much. The next question is, what kind of fencing for both livestock and game will be installed? And Bill, I'm going to guess that you're talking about during construction. So let's start with that. Lisa, you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, I might actually have Amber help me out with this, because this
Excellent.
is going to be part of that right-of-way negotiation process. So I'll let her speak to that.
Yep, I'll take that over. So typically what we would do in our right-of-way process is the appraisal will identify what type of existing fencing is in place. And we'll try and replace that with like-kind fencing during the construction project. We have a number of different options that are our standard fence types. And we also have wildlife-friendly fence types. And it will be up to each individual landowner to kind of work through that with the right-of-way agent to determine what style that they feel suits their property the best.
So Amber, I'm going to follow that up with my own question. During construction itself, if a fence is removed and it happens to be during the time when grazing is happening along that stretch, does the construction company, do they have temporary fencing or something that can help with that?
Yep, there is a requirement that we put in our right-of-way agreements if there is livestock or even kids utilizing the space that an enclosure is maintained at all times. So they'll put a temporary fence in while they're building the new. So they'll make sure that that is taken care of.
Okay, thank you. And Bill follows it up with, he's run into loose cattle on the roadway at night. That's why he's wondering. So that's a great question, Bill. We appreciate it. Let me know if you need more information about that. Okay, the next question, we only have 3 questions left, so you guys keep them coming, please. The next question is, it is anticipated that the speed limit will remain at 55 miles per hour. Is that accurate? Lisa Fisher?
Yes, so the speed limit will not be changed as part of this project. That is a whole different process that Bob might be able to speak to, but we designed the road based on the current speed limit, and that's what we're assuming will remain in place.
That's correct, Lisa. The Department of Transportation doesn't change speed limits. That's a complete different process as specified in Montana code. If there is interest in changing the speed limit, that would require a speed study be done after the completion of the project to make sure we're getting all of the new new conditions properly captured in the study.
Thank you both. The next question is any consideration for quality internet service? That's a good question, but I don't know that we have an answer here. Bob, do you know anything about that?
So I've been doing public relations for construction projects for
Ah,
a lot of years, and this is a new one. You know, are there consideration for quality internet service? What I can share is that utilities are allowed to be in the roadway right away. Whatever is there now that's in conflict, we'll be working to relocate so that the new roadway alignment won't adversely affect it. As far as, I don't know if there's quality internet service out there now or not, but going forward, if a company desires to utilize our roadway and place something for internet connectivity, internet service out there, there is a process that they have to go through. But MDT, we are not in the utility game. We just have a corridor that we allow them to occupy.
thank you, Bob, and thank you for that question. The next question, how are you going to allow the access to our lanes during construction? Most of us only have one entrance and one exit to our lanes. We don't have a construction guy here, but Bob, I'm going to toss it back to you.
You bet. So yeah, there will be, the contractor will be required to provide access to all residents throughout the duration of the construction project.
And just to add, the construction projects have a public involvement individual that work on those projects. So you will have, and it may be me, it may be somebody else, but it'll be someone like me. We work closely with the construction team so that we can get the stakeholders information about construction and what's happening during that upcoming week. And then it's also another way to have access in case, I mean, by and large, our construction companies are really great. I mean, they do lovely work out there. And I've worked on many construction projects and rarely do I have issues, but I would also be someone you could access in case you had questions about what was happening next, or, you know, sometimes we have youngins on construction projects and they park in your driveway, and, you know, that MDT provides for the stakeholders who are in the construction area, someone to ask questions of and get answers from. So it's a great question, and MDT we don't just leave you out there sort of wondering what's going on. So we'll be there to help you out during construction too. Okay, next one is, will this project be able to eliminate the Mullan Road stop sign at the intersection of Pulp Mill Road? I'm going to Lisa Fisher.
We did an intersection analysis there to evaluate different configurations. And the one that met the current and the design traffic volumes was to maintain that stop sign. So that will stay in place.
Thank you. And Lisa, you get the next one too. What will the design of the Deschamps Mullan Road look like?
Yeah, so the county's actually working on this right now. And so I'll let Eric talk as well, but the intersection with Deschamps is going to tee into Mullan Road at a 90-degree angle, so you don't have that skewed intersection anymore. But that is actually happening this summer, I believe. So I'll let Eric confirm that.
Yes, that's true. Once we get back to the work that's been underway on Deschamps Lane, hopefully in the next month or so, we will be moving that approach to a location that HDR designed. So, you know, I'm not sure when construction of Mullan is itself, but we'll have the intersection realigned, and then final elevation tie-in will occur when Mullan Road is built. So I think you can expect to see that redesigned intersection this summer.
Thank you, Eric. And I apologize to everyone for mispronouncing Deschamps Lane numerous times. I cannot keep it in my brain. Okay, so we have no more questions on our QA panel. Does anybody have anything that they would like to ask before we wrap things up? We know that you guys are busy, busy people. We've had the opportunity to meet with folks. Bill. So Bill is telling us no roundabout. Thank you. All caps. You're welcome, Bill. Okay. We appreciate your time. We know everybody is quite busy. And we appreciate you joining us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Bob for our wrap up. If you have a question, go ahead and put it in. We'll get it answered as quickly as we can. But Bob, do you have any last words for us?
I just want to thank everybody for joining us, and to say this isn't the last time we'll be doing this. As we move forward, there's going to be several more steps where we'll be continuing to reach out to the public. Once we get further along in the design, we'll probably have another one of these, and then definitely before we go to construction, we'll have another one of these. So this isn't the last time you'll hear of us before dirt's turning out there.
Thank you, Bob. We did get one more question. I just want to remind everybody before we do this last question, if you leave this meeting and you think, oh shoot, I had a question, just contact me, Lisa Gray. My email's right there. Call me on the phone if you want. I don't always know answers, but I always know people who have answers, so I can help that way. The last question we have now is the right-of-way acquisition only for property adjacent to Mullan Road, and we'll send that to Amber.
Yep, as far as I'm aware, the only properties that are impact are properties that run adjacent to Mullan Road between Deschamps and Pulp Mill roads. So Lisa maybe could confirm that, but that's my understanding.
That's correct, yeah. So with the widening of the roadway to accommodate those shoulders and the shared use path, it's just the adjacent parcels that are being impacted.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. I'd like to thank the project team. You guys have had a busy week, and it's just been a pleasure working with you all. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everybody, all of our attendees who joined us. Have a lovely evening, and we will see you next time.
Oh, we just had a question come up.
Uh-oh, you got in there, Marta. Good job. Okay, I'm concerned about noise with rumble strips. That's a great question. Lisa Fisher?
And I think, we're looking for input on that, because that is definitely a piece of the puzzle. That's why we talked a little bit about the sinusoidal too. When you're adjacent to properties, that can help with the noise reduction of those while still maintaining the benefit on the safety side. So there have been a lot of run off the road crashes along Mullan Road. And so that has been identified as something that could be considered to improve.
Okay. So Lisa, so help me out with this visually. I'm having a flashback to math classes. So sinusoidal rumble strips are more of a bowl. Is that instead of the long? Is that what they look like? They're more of a cup or a bowl instead of the long rectangular rumble strip. Is that fair to say, or not at all?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And so they are a bit more quiet. So obviously not a rumble strip expert here, but it's a discussion that we have with lots of stakeholders. Bob, does anybody want to add anything about that with our rumble strips and noise?
Yeah, and I'll add a little bit. We've been, for a lack of a better term, playing with the rumble strips. We can't argue with the effectiveness. They are literally, they are a tool that are saving lives. And so if everybody remembers back to, I think it was slide number 3, the Vision Zero, they're a key part of our Vision Zero. But also we do recognize that there is an impact if we're right out somebody's front door, bedroom window or something as well. So we have a standard that we've adopted that has a distance from a residence that we either don't install the rumble strip or we change the location of the rumble strip. We can try to lessen the depth of the rumble strip. We've done a lot of things to try to keep an effective tool to keep people on the road where they belong, but not ruin the quality of life of the people that live in the neighborhood. So, I guess the one thing I would have is to just, next time you're out on the road, kind of pay attention. If you see a road that has been overlaid or paved recently, try the rumble strip out yourself cautiously, you know, just get a tire over there to just kind of get the edge of that rumble strip, and you'll notice the difference versus the rumble strips that were installed on the road 5, 10, 15 years ago. We have made changes, and we're continuing to try to come up with the best tool possible to keep people safe. Is the ultimate goal of that, but we do recognize that they can be impactful to the neighbors.
And Aline, I hate to put you on the spot. Would you go back to the rumble strip page, please? So the safety.fhwa.dot.gov. I know this is a long website, but you can go there to read all about the studies that have been done, that, you know, it's exactly what was Bob just said about protecting drivers. So I will put that on the project website. Let me just make
And
it.
I will add, the image that we have right there is not a sinusoidal rumble strip. That is an old school rumble strip that we do still use them because they are extremely effective, and they're also cheaper to install. It doesn't require near as fancy of a machine to cut those in. So we use those in very rural areas, but not in areas like this. So I don't know if we have I don't think that anybody has an image of a sinusoidal rumble strip they can pop up real quick, but we can get that information out to you as well.
Right. I think what we'll do is just add a section to the website on rumble strips, and we will have the photo correct and have the FHWA website, so you can just click on it. We'll have a live link there. I've made a note to myself to make sure that we update the website, include that information. So it's a great question, and it's a, you know, I think it's a conversation we're going to have more and more as we move forward, because it is helpful. Bob, thank you very much for the add-on and all the information about the rumble strips. Okay, I think we're close to shutting down. Anybody else want to just quickly type in something super fast? Like what you're cooking for dinner? I'm kidding. Can you tell? It's my stomach, sorry. All right, team, you've done outstanding work. I appreciate it. If you have questions, or your neighbor.
Just hang on 1 minute, Lisa.
Go ahead,
Dave Scott has raised his hand, and I think he might be trying to type something in real quick.
Oh, okay. Thank you. How did you know that?
It showed up on my participant list.
Ah. Oh, there's a raised hand. That
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys. I wasn't even paying attention to that.
Nice.
Okay, so you're typing something in. I see. Okay, we're gonna wait for you. Dave Scott, are you typing us in? Dave Scott, did you accidentally raise your hand? Elaine, could you go back to the page that shows how to submit a question for me, please? So Dave, there's a QA button at the bottom of your screen. And if you want to send us a question, type it in and then hit the blue send, because nothing showed up yet. And I don't know if you, thank you, Bill. Have a lovely evening. We appreciate your time. So Dave, you either accidentally raised your hand or you haven't sent your question yet. Can you help me? You will ask next time. Okay, Dave, we very much appreciate your time. You can send me an email. Happy to do it. Thank you, Anonymous. We appreciate that you joined us. Thank you, Connie. Excellent. And Dave, I'm lisa.gray@hdrinc.com. If you remember your question, just send it to me and we'll get you an answer. Thanks so much. You guys have been lovely. We appreciate your time. Have a great evening, everybody. Good night.